Howdy, howdy, howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 279.
Yeehaw!
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems on a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that. I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy, howdy, howdy do, Who fans. Welcome back to the Big Blue Box podcast. Hope you've all had a cracking week. And that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Sorry, I've gone a bit Robo-Man there.
Bit Robo. Yeah. I quite like that, dude. I like the yeehaw. And then the...
Yeehaw!
Been on the sauce this morning, it feels like.
I've been on the cowpole.
Oh, no Bloody Marys this morning.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Oh, no. I don't like tomato juice.
Put a raw egg in there as well.
Tomato... Oh, no, stop it. You're making me feel ill.
You'll be sorted, mate.
Ugh. No, I'd rather have a pint of lager.
A pint. Do you know what? The weather's turned in the UK. So...
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, you'd have heard Adam and I say how lovely and warm and sunny and sunbathed weather it was. Yeah. And that made you want to reach for a pint relatively early in the afternoon, I'll be honest.
I don't normally need an excuse, but yes,
yeah.
It did.
Yeah, about that sort of 3 o'clock time when the sort of work day, for me anyway, sort of winding down a bit. I've got my meetings out of the way. I'm just doing some work, and it's cool just to nip out in the garden, have a beer. It's all good. But this weather, it's like, no. Cup of tea, hot chocolate maybe, that kind of thing.
It's funny you say that. I was out on the way home from work last night. The one thing I was really craving was a cup of tea. And it hadn't really dawned on me how quickly that had changed. Because you're right, about 2 weeks ago, it had been, I can't wait to get home and have a beer in the garden. Now it's like, a cup of tea.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
That's a cup of tea and a slice cake.
Yeah, a bit of Wurzel action. Yeah.
Oh, Wurzel.
Yes. So, welcome to episode 279. It's great to have you all back as always for another week. Coming up in today's show, we have no news. The last bit of news we spoke about was the interactive show that we reported on and all that jazz. So if anyone's booked their tickets, if you're looking forward to that, let us know, because it does sound kind of cool. But we have got some merch to talk about. We've got some decent merch actually to talk through this week. It's been a long time since we've had some good merch to talk through. We'll get onto that, and then we're on to our review of Cold War, the 11th Doctor story. We're out of the classic Who season of Key to Time. We had a few people get in touch actually to say, saying stuff like, "You must be so glad that you finished that review of the Key to Time and stuff." I know our friend Liv and Sarah Louise, the running Whovian. She was like, "Congrats to you guys for getting through all that." I think she's still playing catch up, Sarah. I think she's still
trying to get through.
Yeah, bless her. Well, hopefully you'll get the achievement point as we did for getting through that. But it's good to get back to some other Doctor Who. So we're back to some modern Doctor Who this week. Should be good. You went up to anything Who, dude, the last week?
Yeah, I've had a little. I've had a little jaunt out to the Cotswolds last week, which was rather nice. So the Stones have quite appropriate actually, because we've just finished the Key to Time season. The location for the Stones of Blood, the Rollright Stones, is about an hour and 20 minutes drive from me. So it's not that far, and I've been wanting to go there for ages. And so I had a day off, and I sort of, nagging my partner, let's go to the Rollright. I said, I've been wanting to go to the Rollright Stones. It's a beautiful sunny day. Let's go to the Rollright Stones. Anyway, moan. Another Doctor Who location. Anyway, we did go out there, and it's just past. So you go past Blenheim, and it's about another 20 minutes or so. So not a million miles. And it was really nice. It was a scorching hot day. It's weird because obviously in the show they've taken their own rock. So when you get there, you sort of think there's like the stone circle. There's nothing in the middle of the circle. And I thought, is this it? Because I know there's a couple of different bits of the Rollright Stones. Thinking, is this the bit? Is this the bit where Tom stood? And anyway, it was. And we had a good look round there and had a nice walk through the fields. It was beautiful. It was just like the perfect day for it. It was so sunny and lovely. And there was somebody there with, like when people are looking for oil, they've got like these sticks and stuff. Well, she had this sort of metal rods, and I assume she was looking for ghosts or some sort of present. So I was watching her do that around the stand. So I stood in the middle and sort of tried to make contact with something, but I couldn't feel any. I didn't get anything, unfortunately. I didn't get any. What was the name of the old dear in that one? The one that we really, Mrs. Whatever her name
was. Yeah, you didn't get any vibes, no.
No, I was hoping she might come back and have a chat with me, but she didn't. But yeah, it was really cool. It's a location I've been meaning to go to for ages, and I hoped going in the week, because I think it was a Thursday when it must have been a week today, but I was hoping we'd be the only ones there. I was thinking, I hope it's really quiet because it's in the week. No, it was. It's really quite busy. Loads of kids and running around, jumping on the stones, and I was amazed you could touch it. I thought like there was people sitting on them, reading a book, and I was thinking, obviously they're protected or whatever, but I didn't think you'd be able to sort of actually do that. I mean, maybe touch it and, I've touched the stone, but not sit on it and run around it. And anyway, but yeah, it was quite busy there, which was nice to see. And I did a little bit of filming. I don't know when I'll get to edit it together, but I did a little location thingy for my channel there, so that was quite good fun. And it was just it was a box ticked, if you like. It was really nice to go to that location. I wore my Fourth Doctor scarf.
Nice.
It's the
good.
The one you've got that's the really, 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 really long version.
Mm-hmm.
That literally I can't wear because I'm so short that I turn into a mummy if I try and put that thing on. I wore the version of that, but it's much shorter. So it's like the Christmas version of it.
Oh, the Muggle version. Yeah.
Yeah, the very small version of that scarf. So I wore that just to take a bit of Who back to location with me. So that's cool. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't really done anything else. I was hoping I'd get the new Big Finish, the Tom Baker and David Tennant story, Out of Time, finally got released yesterday as we're recording. And I was really hoping I'd get to dip into that. But I haven't had a chance to download it yet. But that might be on my radar for this afternoon, because I'm seeing a lot of people saying that it's really good fun and, just a good fun story. And I can imagine those two together. So that might be what I do this afternoon, but I just haven't had a chance yet. Have you pre-ordered that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure you would, because you love Tennant, don't you?
Yeah. Same as you, though. I've not had a chance to dive into it yet.
Well, they've really sort of bigged it up, haven't they? I mean, they've been teasing it all month, because the thing with the Big Finish is they don't give release dates. They just say it's coming out in August or whatever. And so it's like, yeah, but when? And they've been teasing it all month, like, oh, it'll be out soon. They finally released it. So yeah, looking forward to diving into that when I get a chance.
Yeah, cool. Our reviewer Mark on our team has done a review for that, which is up on our website today. So we're recording on Thursday, the 27th. So by the time you listen to this, it'll be in the past. But yeah, head over to the website and check it out. It's a good review by Mark.
Did he enjoy it?
Mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I think that's the thing. It's like a lot of it's easy going, I would imagine. It's not going to be like I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking. It's not going to be a spare parts classic, but I'd imagine it's going to be a fun listen.
Yeah. Yes.
I did see one thing that surprised me about those releases, though, because I think they're doing. You can buy a bundle of 3 stories, or maybe it's 4. I can't remember. It's the day, the 10th Doctor with all the other Doctors, so 1 Doctor each release. Apparently, they're really spaced out, so it's like 1 a year. But I don't know if they made that clear when you pre-ordered it, because I saw a lot of people kicking off saying like, "What? I've got to wait a year to get the next one," and because they take the money straight away, and I understand why they do that, because you're sort of helping to sort of fund Big Finish, by doing that. But it is quite frustrating when you pay up front and then you've got to wait 3 or 4 years to actually get what you've paid for. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. But yeah, I get why they do it, because obviously you're funding, so they can keep producing great content, obviously.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, it is a long time, though, I must admit. It must have something to do with scheduling with Mr. Tennant, I would assume. I don't think he's free. I don't think he's as free as Tom Baker to just pop along or do some recording whenever he wants. Even in lockdown, I think he's still pretty busy.
Yeah, I must admit, that's another thing that's on my list to listen to. So he did some podcasts last year, which were really good. David Tennant, this is. Not Tom Baker. Imagine if Tom Baker did a podcast. That'd be amazing. He should do that, actually. That would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, Tennant did a podcast series last year, and they were very good. He did one with Jodie and Olivia Colman. I think that was the first one he did. Gosh, her language on that podcast was shocking. Don't know if you ever listened to it.
Yeah, she's like a truck driver.
I was really quite surprised. Language like that from the Queen. But he's just released a couple of new podcasts, I believe, and I haven't had a chance to listen to them, but the one that I'm interested in, I think, is the latest one with George Takei. I think I'm saying his name right.
That's right. Yep.
He played Sulu in Star Trek, and apparently he goes into sort of the behind the scenes, disagreements with Shatner and the cast, and because there was always a bit of friction between Takei and Shatner, I think.
Hello.
But as someone who loves the original Star Trek, I'm really looking forward to listening to that.
Yeah, they're very good. I've listened to both of them.
Were you about to do a William Shatner impression there?
No, it's to George Takei's hello.
Oh yeah.
It's the first one that he did with Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory.
Yes,
that's a really good listen. Really good listen. Anyone that's a fan of The Big Bang Theory will know that it's very difficult to get anything out of Jim Parsons. Because anyone that likes the show will know how big an event it was when it finished, and the finale and everything. And all the other cast members were just crying all over the place and doing interviews. But Jim was like really quiet. And it took David Tennant like 9 minutes to get him to spill all of the reasons why he left the show, and almost got him crying and everything. Yeah, it's a... Like David Tennant seems to have stepped up his interview, not really interview, but like kind of, he's almost got that Parkinson vibe about him, where he's very but he's just very easygoing now. It's just, he doesn't apply any kind of pressure to his questions or anything. He kind of draws it out via conversation. It's very good. So that they're both really good, actually. It's yeah, I might go back and re-listen to some of those season 1 episodes, though, because they were pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I suppose he was finding his feet a bit in the first one. Now he's probably got it's just like water off a duck's back to him, probably.
Yeah, but the George Takei one is good, though, mate. If you're after some, spilling the tea on the whole Shatner thing and some of that stuff, he doesn't go into it too much, but he does drop the odd thing where you think, oh, okay, that sounded a bit dodgy, but. Yeah, it's a good listen. I
shall give it a listen.
There's another podcast by David Tennant. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Anyways, yeah. So, yeah, you've done anything before we waffle on to everything else to do with David Tennant and Star Trek? Have you done anything else?
No, just been working.
Yeah, I've done very little, mate. The only one thing I have done is carry on with my Davison train. So last week I watched Castrovalva just on a whim. I thought, yeah, because you were like, Castrovalva, really?
Yeah. I do like that story, but yeah, it wasn't one I thought you'd go to.
Yeah, and we couldn't say too much, obviously, because we haven't reviewed that one yet.
Oh, have we? Oh, right.
No, so we can't. Yeah, it's a bit hush on that one. But I did carry on, so I watched Forward to Doomsday, which is just hilarious unintentionally on so many levels.
Sodium fluoride.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole floating through space with the cricket ball, and it's very, very funny. I don't think it's not meant to be funny, but yeah.
I remember when we reviewed that, being quite surprised how much you liked it actually, because it is odd, isn't it? It's an odd one, that.
It is odd, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, watch Forward to Doomsday on the old BritBox, and that was it. That's what I've done.
Well, you're dangerously close to Richard Mace then, if you're carrying on that. Dangerously close to Plague.
Actually, there's a rumor that because BritBox have been pretty strong with adding stuff onto the service over the last few weeks. They've added a bunch of really cool classic stuff like The Prisoner and
I love The Prisoner,
the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, and
brilliant.
Jerry Anderson's UFO, like some really good old school, really good quality sci-fi. And I heard a rumor knocking around that old Blake might be added on there at some point.
Oh, surely it's got to be.
So that might be my opportunity to dive in, because much to your disgust, I've never seen an episode of Blake 7, which is your favourite TV show.
It is. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Doctor Who. It's a close shave, but Blake, there is something about Blake 7 which I just love. It's weird though, because it's one of those shows, like if I was to say to you, right, what episode should I pick to get you into it? It's really hard to do, because really there's a progression throughout the whole series. So really, I always say start at the beginning, obviously. Even though they're individual stories, it's good to watch the characters progress, and it changes. The cast completely changed by series 4, pretty much. But the thing is that series 1's quite bleak, so it's also not always the best place to start. Like our good friend Lee Binding said, "Oh no, I can't." You know, he's not a fan of it at all. And I was heartbroken. I was like, "Oh, but Lee, it's the best show ever." He's like, "Oh no, it's depressing." I'm like, "Well, no, the first episode is bleak as heck, but it's a good story." But it's not a barrel of laughs, you know. But it's difficult. But I always say start at the beginning, because it really kicks off the whole story of why these guys get together and stuff. But yeah, so it's a difficult one, because obviously Terry Nation wrote pretty much all of series 1, and then he kind of handed it over to other people and wrote the odd episode. So it does change from series 2 onwards. But yeah, I'd love you to watch it. I just don't watch the first one and think, blimey heck, you know. Bad enough of this.
Yeah.
I don't think you would though. I think you'd like it, because it's got that classic Who vibe. It's got Dudley Simpson does the music, so it's got Dudley's trademark all over it, and a lot of people that appeared in Doctor Who appear in it. So it's definitely got that classic Who vibe. That sort of 70s, 80s feel. Yeah.
I remember the first time that Adam told me about Blake 7. It was at the first event that you and I.
Or the Copthorne.
At the Copthorne Hotel, yeah. So the day of the Doctors event back in, what was it, 2015 maybe?
Oof, probably.
2014, 2015. Day of the Doctors event at the Copthorne. The event was done. We was in the bar afterwards.
With Camsey, wasn't it?
Old Camsey, yeah, old Cameron, the previous owner of Blogger. Yeah. A bunch of other cool people that we had sort of met and hung out with during the day. It was really cool. And we was at the bar. This is like 2 or 3 pints in, and Adam's telling me about Blake 7, how much I should watch it and how amazing it is and all that. And then he just drops this clanger in there, like, oh, by the way, though, you might not like some of it. Even the cast didn't like it, because the dude that stars as Blake didn't even want to come back. He didn't even the lead actor himself didn't want to come back and play Blake afterwards. Was that after season 1, series 1, or series 2?
Season 2. I think he was, Gareth. I mean, he always loved the show, but he was getting a bit of stick, I think, from his fellow actors. Like, why are you in this terrible BBC sci-fi? You know, you should be on stage, darling. So he did go off and do other things. So, it's weird, because the Blake 7, the 7, I think there is only like a couple of episodes where there's actually 7 actual members of the cast, because it changes so much over the years. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so expectedly I fell about laughing for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes.
It's just the Blake thing as well. I remember us getting drunk and going, Blake! Because there's a bit where Travis, one of the villains, that keeps shouting, Blake! In this stupid, ridiculous voice. But, that was good. My other memory from that is, I think it was that one, or definitely at the Copthorne. was when they put a misprint on the form, and it was supposed to say Sylvester McCoy will be signing in the bar area at this time, but they printed it as Sylvester McCoy will be singing in the bar. So he come through with doing the spoons because it's McCoy. He's like playing the spoons and singing, and he says, "Well, apparently on the schedule it says I'm singing in here at this time." So that was quite a nice moment. Everyone, because he just literally just walked into the middle of the bar doing this song and dance. Typical McCoy.
Typical McCoy.
Yeah. Was that the same one or was that a different one? I forget.
No, that was
now.
the same one. That was the same one. Yeah.
They were great days. I really do miss those sort of conventions. They were great.
I've got one of my best memories from that event was the night before. Actually, I went down there and stayed over.
The night before, yeah.
Yeah, so I was in the restaurant at the hotel, and a couple of tables away from me was I can't even remember who was.
Who was it
at the event? It was the guy that played Nyder, I think.
Yeah,
in Genesis. One of the old directors. I can't even find the event for it anymore. The event page for it, but it was like it was nobody that starred in Doctor Who. It was like a couple of directors from the classic era, the dude that played Nyder, and a couple of other people. Anyway, they were at the table a couple of away from me, and they got absolutely smashed. Like, and some of the stuff they were coming out with, it was so fun. It's like, oh yeah, do you remember that lighting guy on episode 1 of whatever? He was an annoying beep, wasn't he? We had to cut 3 times and beep. We had to get his beeping pliers out, and we ended up firing him. And the next guy was rubbish and beep, and it was really funny just hearing those.
I bet you were just sat there taking it all in.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was. When I get my my chip implanted in my brain that sorts my memory out, I'll be able to retell these stories in a lot more detail. But anyway, it was a bunch of classic Who. A couple of producers and directors, and
it was definitely Peter Miles. Yeah, I remember Nigel was there because I remember meeting him. Yeah, well, obviously not then. I met him at the event, but I can't remember who else was there. But I remember you telling me it just all smashed because I was saying, God, and they're there the next day signing, all bright and as if nothing's like that's just obviously because I remember saying to you they're obviously just used to going to the BBC bar and getting smashed and carrying on working because you'd never guess they were all hungover.
Old school, mate, proper
old school. Yeah.
So anyway, that's what we've been up to for the week. The Week in Who. Need a little jingle for that. The Week in Who.
That's Parkinson.
That's Parkinson, yeah. Right. It's merch time, dude. So Grumpy Knickers he's back from his travels, from his vacation. So let's see what mood he's in.
All right.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
Try work in a shop now, it'd help.
Oh dear.
You'd think he'd like this first bit.
Yeah, but no.
I know why. It's because he was hoping he'd get royalties from it, probably.
Feels like he's getting stiffed out the money.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, come on, don't be like that. No, all right then.
He's having none of it.
He's having none of it. No. What's that? Get lost, mate. Can I come on the podcast? Get out of it.
Way.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, all right, he's gone. His mood hasn't improved. I don't know what's it going to take to get him in a good mood. I've no idea.
Impossible, mate. Yeah. Absolutely impossible.
Yeah, I'll give him a backhand around those tentacles later. Swift one. That'll sort him out. Right, anyway. Character. You know the company Character. The dudes that make the action figures that a lot of you collect, including you, Pod.
Yeah, including me, yeah.
They have produced this Dalek set based on the... it's just an episode from The Chase, I believe, one of the later episodes, isn't it? The Jungles of... what's it
Good
called?
luck with this. Jungles of Mechanus.
Mechanus, there we go. Yeah. The Jungles of Mechanus, Dalek figure set, is up for order right now from Character. And you can order it direct from the website. And this is also available to international buyers as well. This is not just a UK B&M thing. Now, this must be cool for a lot of people, dude, because we all know the tale, don't we? Where they have a kind of an exclusivity agreement with somebody like B&M. They announce it and it kind of goes live on roughly the date that they were hoping to get them live on. You end up people just legging all over the B&M stores trying to pick them up. And then you get to the B&M store and there's none left because somebody was in there 1 minute before you and bought every set to go and put on eBay.
Exactly.
That's how it goes, right?
That is how it happens. Yeah.
So character, I think I could be wrong, but I don't think they typically do this. I don't think they put these sets up for order on their own website that often, the brand new ones anyway. So they've got it on the website. I'll put a link to this in the show notes. 25 quid, and it's showing as in stock as we record on the 27th on Thursday. So the blurb that has popped up for this one is back in 65, the 6-part story, The Chase, became famous in the eyes of Who fans for being special in many ways. Features some unique guest Daleks in episodes 3 and 5. The exclusive Jungles of Mechanus Dalek figure set has been created to offer something unique to delight fans and collectors and pay homage to the unique Daleks seen on screen. And anyone that's seen these pictures have been around for a long, long time. It's the silver, blue and yellow Dalek set, which you can buy as a nice little pair. This might be what would put him in a good mood, you know.
What's that?
He's on his lonesome. That's the problem.
Oh, you think he needs a...
Yeah.
I think he needs a mate.
Yeah, I can't bring this up with him. Crikey.
Oh,
can't
no,
have two of them.
Can't have that chat with it. No. Oh, no. You
So
could be right. That would make sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. It's the only thing he's never had is another Dalek buddy. Anyways, the Jungles of Mechanus set, I assume you've already ordered these or are about to, right?
Oh, it goes without saying. Absolutely love. This is my favorite Dalek. Well, one of my favorite Dalek color schemes. I don't know what it is because basically they're the movie Daleks, but they're not from the Cushing movies. But they're not allowed to do that for rights reasons. So they appeared literally for seconds in the Chase TV serial. You just see them in the background. It is a very much blink and you'll miss it. I think the BBC were light on Dalek props, so they said, "Oh, can we borrow those movie ones? But we'll make them look a bit different." So I think they chopped the base off them at one point. But you hardly see them in the actual TV show. But but because of the rights, they can't call them movie Daleks. But I love these ones because they've got the big chunky base, they've got the big lights. I love the color scheme. It's just so sort of 60s, that blue and silver and everything. So yeah, this was as soon as they announced this, I was quite surprised actually because I'd got this mysterious email come through saying there's going to be an announcement on Wednesday from Character. Be prepared to get the news out there. I was like, oh, what's this about then? And I assumed it was going to be a new series or the next wave of B&M sets. Apparently they're doing even more of the B&M before the end of the year, which I find incredible. But so I was thinking it'd be something like that. I was not expecting this at all. But yeah, it's a pleasant surprise. I love the fact really that they're doing it through the website because it does save all that trying to get to a B&M store, which I find really, really tiresome. It just takes all that stress away. I went online, ordered it, bam, done. And, it's just as easy as that. And they are limited. I think they're doing, how many did he say? There's a little video on the website and he does say, I think it's like, can't be 5,000. Is it 50? I don't know. There's a limited number.
Yeah.
And when they're gone, they're gone. But it's not a small amount. There's enough to go around. So hopefully that'll deter the eBayers. Although, no word of a lie, mate, these are already, even though they haven't even been dispatched yet, there's already some of these on eBay going for $49.99.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, why would you buy it from eBay for 50 quid when you can still get it from the website for 25? I mean, what is going on? Anyway, they look great. Yes, I've pre-ordered them. I can't wait to get them, to be honest. I think they look really nice. I hope they do more of this. I would much rather get it online than having to, try and battle my way for B&M every time they release these. It's a real pain. So I hope this is more the way they go.
Yeah,
they've done it twice or a couple of times before. They did it with a Missy figure, which I don't think proved to be that popular, which is a shame. I think it sold well, but not as well as they'd hoped. So that was a bit of a trial for them, I think, just to see how it went to sell direct from their website. So hopefully this sells well, and that'll encourage them to do more. And the reason I say that about Missy is because I know it was very limited, and it's still on the website and reduced. So clearly it didn't sell quite as well as I hoped. But this, I think, will do well. I hope so. I think it's a really nice set.
Yes, it is a kind of a cool set, this one.
Yeah, I know you don't buy the figures, but are you in any way tempted with these? I mean, they will look great on a shelf.
No.
No.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is, mate. There's nothing against the people at Character. I just don't really like the quality or the build or any of the process from Character, dude. I haven't for a long time. But I appreciate for collectors like yourself and other Who fans, it's this is an awesome one to get. So
yeah,
oh,
fair enough. Yeah, I know you're not much into the figures, but yeah, I was on it like a bat out of hell when this was straight on there. Yeah,
nice. I'm into figures. I've got plenty of figures of other things. It's just Character. They just don't. I can't. Yeah.
So you like Mattel, don't you? No, what's the one you like?
Well, there's a few, but yeah, Kenner, like the old Kenner stuff.
Kenner, that's it. Yeah, Kenner.
Yeah, McFarlane.
You're a Kenner man.
Yeah, Necker, McFarlane, those sorts of things. But anyway, if you pre-order it now, these are going to dispatch on Monday, the 7th of September. So you'll likely get them by the end of that week, I would say, depending on what your postman is like. Yeah, dude. We'll see yours in November.
Yeah, thrown over the wall.
You'll find it in the bush. You'll find it.
Yeah, Dalek eye on the floor.
So that's the Dalek set direct order from Character. Yeah, we'll stick a note in the show notes for that.
Cool. Moving on then. So the Doctor Who figurine collection, classic subscription, which I do buy a lot of these. So it's the magazine that comes with a little tiny figurine. They're no longer going to be available in newsagents and shops starting from issue 180. So if you want them, you're going to have to either subscribe, which you get them at a reduced cost, or you will be able to order them from Eagle Moss directly or forbiddenplanet.com. I'm not surprised by this. As I said, I do collect these. These, I think, really vary. Some of them, I think, look fantastic. So they just did the Dragonfire Dragon as a special. He was quite a big figurine. And I managed to pick one up in Smith's last week. Looks fantastic. Absolutely love it. And then it's a bit like with Harapax, you get a couple of so they're doing River Song next. And, I mean, there's a slight resemblance. So they're very hit and miss, but when they're good, they're really good. Yeah. And I pretty much collect them all anyway, just because I do like them, even when they're not so good. So, but yeah, you're not going to be able to get them in store. I was amazed to see this in WH Smith, to be honest with you, because they have become harder and harder to get. Very often when I'm in Forbidden Planet, they'll have them, so I picked them up there. But it sounds like that even they're only going to be doing them online from now on. But if you want to subscribe, you get, I think it's every 4 weeks they send 2, and you get them for a reduced price of $7.99 instead of $9.99. Which includes delivery. And yeah, I suppose it's nice if you want to just not have the hassle of ordering them individually. Me personally, because I've had bad experiences ordering directly from Eagle Moss in the past, and I do believe they've sorted out their stuff now, so they're probably a lot better, but I'm talking a long time ago. I just didn't really have a good experience with Eagle Moss. I often get mine directly from Forbidden Planet. I've never had a problem ordering from those guys, but yeah, so if you want to get those figures, you're not going to see them in the shops anymore. To be honest, they were getting quite hard to find in the shops anyway. So it's not really a big difference. But yeah, go to www.shopeaglemoss.com if you want to subscribe, because they will no longer be available in shops. And they're currently going up to issue 200, which might be extended. But yeah, but from issue 180, you'll need to subscribe or order online.
Yeah, and that's expected, I suppose, isn't it? 200. I mean, how many characters are there in Doctor Who? I know there's more than 200, but to do a figurine on it. Otherwise, you're going to do like every extra in the background.
Yeah. Well, they've done quite a lot of variants as well, and I think there are some great monsters they could still do. But yeah, again, I don't know. There's plenty of scope there, but I know what you mean. It'd be nice to have a cut-off just for my wallet's point of view, just to say, right, once this issue's done, but then something else will come along.
Yeah.
But yeah, have you ever bought one of these? I mean, I've bought loads. But have you got any of these Eagle Moss figures in your collection?
No, I've never.
Not a single one?
Never bought one, mate. No.
Oh.
No.
But they've done, I'll tell you, the ones that have been best, they did the Dandelion Auton, the yellow jacket and hat. Mm-hmm. That is one of my favourite figures. They just absolutely nailed that figure. And the Nymon figure. Brilliant.
Oh, the Nymon. How many Nymons have you seen today?
3! But yeah, if you're only going to pick up any figure from that collection, I'd recommend those two. They're brilliant figures.
Oh, cool. We will stick a link in the show notes again to go and fire up a subscription if you want it. You have to make sure that you select what's called the classic subscription. The other one, if you Google it or go onto their website and there's the usual subscription stuff, that stuff no longer works. You can't sign up to any of that stuff. You want what's called the classic sub. And you'll get the first 2 issues together. So you'll get 180 and 181. They'll come out together, and then after that, you'll be charged once a month, and and then your subs will arrive. I'm assuming they'll arrive together from that point on, or maybe one every 2 weeks, or something like that. Yes, there we go. That's the character stuff.
If any of our listeners do subscribe, whatever, I'd be really interested to know what they're like to deal with now. Because as I said, it was a long time ago I had problems with them, and they used to send them out in a box with they'd just shove them in a cardboard box, which was pretty much falling apart. This is every delivery I got, and it would have one of those plastic string ties just holding it together. Mm-hmm. And I just used to think how this has arrived. I had a couple of that didn't arrive, but they were just terrible. Back in the day, but they may have improved. So if you subscribe to it now, or you've had ones that have arrived broken like I had and you've had to get them sorted out, or if you've had any issues with Eagle Moss, let us know, please, what they're like to deal with now, because they've probably improved, I would hope, since. And I might be tempted to order from them again. But for now, I'm going to stick to FP because, much easier to deal with. But yeah, I'd be very interested if any of you guys listening do subscribe. Let me know what they're like now in terms of how they're delivered and stuff.
Yeah, cool. Let us know. Yep. And last bit of news is the Doctor Who comic run over at Titan Comics is seemingly getting a reboot of sorts. So the current run has been going for, I think a couple of years now, is it? At least,
yeah, it must be, yeah.
And they're launching a new run, which is starting with issue number 1, which is going to drop in November, so towards the end of November. And this first issue, as always and as expected, will have a bunch of variants, 6 different covers for this one. And the storyline for this one is Doctor Who returns in the comic debut of the iconic 70s, with the comic debut of the iconic 70s TV villain after narrowly escaping the Weeping Angels and the Autons in 1960s London. The 10th and 13th Doctors must now team up once again to save present-day Earth from being overrun by the classic aquatic villain, the Sea Devils. Who else can they turn to for help but Rose Tyler, leader of the human resistance, the Resistance. So, issue number 1 then, it's a kind of, I don't know if it's...
soft reboot?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is like a completely separate run, but it doesn't feel like it because it's just labelled as Doctor Who from Titan. So it doesn't have that additional spin-off feel to it. It feels like this is the main run, but they're just resetting it or rebooting it. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's out in November. You can pre-order it from most comic book and bookshops like Forbidden Planet, etc., etc. Oh, dude, I ordered some stuff from Forbidden Planet Monday last week.
Yeah.
And
still waiting.
Yeah. So basically, I said to Nat, I've ordered some stuff from FP today, and normally I'd be very cynical and skeptical and be like, well, I'll see that in a month maybe. And And she said, well, you've got to give them some slack at the minute due to COVID and all that stuff. And I said, yeah, but when we didn't have COVID and all that stuff going on, I still waited ages and ages for my stuff. Anyway, I ordered it on Monday. On Friday, I got my bank app popped up, X amount taken from Forbidden Planet. I was like, okay, that's taken you 5 days. Not too bad considering. And then I got my dispatch email from them. I think it was Tuesday this week, and that takes 3 to 5 working days. So I'm expecting them next week now. So anyone that's going to order from Forbidden Planet, just a heads up, you've probably heard us talk about these guys many times on the show before, but do not expect a speedy turnaround and delivery. So these are due to land on the 18th of November. You'll probably see them the first week of December. And that's no over-exaggeration, unless you go into FB, of course. But anyway, there's going to be 6 covers for this, and they all range from the usual cartoony style to the photographic composition stuff. And then you've got the blank version, which you can put your own sketch on or take it to a convention and get one of the artists to put their sketch on it for you. So it's a bit weird, this one, really, because only 2 out of the 6 covers actually features the Sea Devils, which is weird. So cover A by Momoko and cover D by Andolfo, who I assume are the artists, they feature the Sea Devils, which is great. Cover B, which is the photo variant, which looks like a Will Brooks style cover.
Could be.
It's just got Rose front and center. And then cover C and cover E. So C Jones and E Scott is weird. So cover C, you've just got Rose and the 10th Doctor ready to face off against someone. The 13th Doctor's not even on that cover. And on cover E, you've got this weird, you've just got every single Doctor featured on the front.
Yeah, I mean, are they in it? Well, I'm totally confused.
Yeah, I don't even think they're in it. So kind of a weird array of covers. Now, normally for issue 1, I'll order the 6 covers just to put them in the comic box, and it's nice to have them as like the first kickoff. I don't normally do that for all of them, but just the first issue. In fact, for Doctor Who, I've normally I've reverted to just getting the trade paperbacks or the graphic novels now. I don't even pick up the single issues, but I might. But I'm not sure on this one though. Like I said, normally I'll order the variants on issue number 1, but I don't know. Apart from 2 of them that actually featured the Sea Devils, the other ones look very generic and a little bit like I'm not sure how they relate to the story at all. Yeah. What about you, dude? You feeling these?
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I'm a bit lost with all these different comics at the moment. I don't know where we are with them at all. In terms of the covers, I'd probably go one of the ones with a Sea Devil on it, just because for me, that's the only thing I'm really interested in. That's the only thing that's drew my interest in this. So I'm not really bothered about the 13th Doctor and 10 and particularly. But the fact it's the Sea Devils, spiked my interest. So I'd probably go with one of the Sea Devil covers. But I don't know, they're all a bit odd, aren't they? I'm looking at them thinking they look nice, but they also look weird.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the first Doctor on that multi-Doctor cover. He looks like a zombie. What's going on with his eyes?
Yeah. It's for me, mate. If I was going to get one, I'd probably get cover D. The Andolfo. Rose? No, it's got 10 and 13, and then you've got the Sea Devils on the outside. Sort of looks like they're approaching, ready to do something to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I do. I agree. I do like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will get this comic. I'll probably get 2 variants of it, but not sure which ones. Normally I'd go with the multi-Doctor. It just looks so odd.
Strange, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably pick that up as well.
Cool. Titan Comics. Starting at issue number 1 again, the Sea Devils.
Starting all over again.
All over again. We'll be out in November, and you can head over to Forbidden Planet or any comic book outlet you order your comics from to grab those. And that's
10 is sorry, just before you keep finished, I just wanted to get your opinion on something, because 10 is really getting getting out there again at the minute, isn't he? The 10th Doctor, they're really pushing him, which I know you love 10, which is why I'm just curious to see how you feel about it. I know a lot of people feel like 13th Doctor's been a bit sidelined, but he's like, he's got the title Victorious, he's doing Big Finish, now the comics, he's alongside 13. Is it a bit much? Are they relying on 10? Is it? Because it looks to me, as an outsider, like they thought, 10's the most popular Doctor, let's just put him on everything and it'll sell, which it probably will. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think they're relying on 10 a little bit too much? Like, are we in danger of them sort of... there is a chance you might get sick of it. Like, I already feel like I want another Doctor to be... Like, 12, for me, gets forgotten quite a lot. I'm thinking if 12 was involved, it'd be a bit more interesting, but it's 10 again.
Yeah.
But as someone who loves the 10th Doctor, what do you think? Is he being oversaturated at the minute?
No, I read you. I think it's just it's just timings, I feel. Because if you just take one of these things away, then it doesn't feel so oversaturated.
Yeah.
So if the Tennant and Tom Baker Big Finish story wasn't out now, then this would be fine. Similarly, if these comics weren't coming out now, it'd be fine. So it feels like it's just one thing too much maybe for the 10th Doctor, but from the BBC's point of view, but in terms of keeping Doctor Who rocking and rolling while it's not on TV and there's no production, you do what you've got to do, I suppose. If you look back historically at your most popular things, then that's what you use, I suppose. That's what you go with,
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. No, I agree.
Issue number 1. We'll probably get two covers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do for news and merch. No news. That's going to do for merch. It's review time, bud.
Indeed, yeah.
What we got?
So, we're switching to the 11th Doctor this week with the episode Cold War.
Viva Las Vegas! Who the hell are you?
Not Vegas, then!
No!
This creature is a Western weapon.
Is he that dangerous?
This one is. He's got nothing left to lose.
We are all that stands between this creature
And the destruction of the world.
Harm one of us, and you harm us.
Clara, get out of there. Get out!
Now there will be a second red planet, red with the blood of humanity.
Disarming the warheads!
I will blow this sub up before you can even reach that button.
Whoa.
Just while I remember, because that sound effect was right at the end of that trailer, it was bugging me all the way through what it sounded. I was thinking that sounds like something else, and I've just realised what it is. It sounds like the silence, that clicking.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It was bugging me yesterday when I was rewatching this. I was like, that sounds like another monster, that. But it's just twigged. Listen to the trailer. It's silence. Right.
Yes. It sounds like a mix of the silence and the alien from the Predator films.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right then, Cold War. It was first broadcast back on the 13th of April 2013. Usual runtime for this series, 45 minutes. It was written by Mark Gatiss, directed by Douglas McKinnon. Stars Matt Smith, Jenna Louise Coleman as the TARDIS team, with a fairly decent lineup of actors for the supporting cast in this one. And the synopsis is it's early 80s, it's 1983, and we're at the kind of height of the Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union at the time. And we pick up the story on board a Soviet submarine called the Firebird, where they've discovered a strange creature frozen in the ice at the Arctic. And then when it breaks free, it starts going berserk as always. The Doctor and Clara arrive to clean up the mess, obviously, but after the TARDIS has buggered off, that is. But it's kind of it's not like an all-action, guns blazing kind of thing. It's more of a diplomatic approach that the Doctor's trying to take and trying to cool things down. It's all about negotiation and being, trying to be fair and stuff rather than reaching for weapons, which doesn't do any of the crew members any favors early on in the story. And it kind of has like a big sort of parallel with what's going on at the time in the early 80s with the Cold War and stuff. You know, you can echo those things between the Ice Warriors and Earth and stuff like that a little bit. So, yeah, so a kind of a historical, I suppose. In a way, it's kind of set, like but obviously having a look at a good old-fashioned monster from Who with the Ice Warrior. So, what do you think to Cold War, buddy?
Overall, I found it quite an enjoyable watch, but it did seem to run out of steam about halfway through. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought visually it was fantastic. I thought the direction was really good. The episode looks amazing, and I love the Ice Warriors. I think they're a great invention as well, and I think he looks great. I'm not always very fond of how they modernize the sort of classic monsters, so I've never really liked any of the Cybermen designs from the new series, from 2005 onwards. But I think they got it just right with Skeldak. I think he still resembles that classic Ice Warrior look without being tweaked too much. I think they got it absolutely right. So he looks great. So that's why I find it a bit disappointing when he jumps out the suit sort of halfway through and it turns into this sort of blobby creature. I thought, oh, that's a shame because he's quite menacing being this great big, Ice Warrior. So for me, I thought the first half was brilliant. I was really loving it up until when he leaves the suit, and then it turns into a bit of a sort of by numbers run around, people being killed every now and again, and then the end just left me a bit flat. He goes up to his spaceship. There's a little bit of tension of is he going to blow them up or not, and then Clara starts singing. So but it did leave me feeling a little bit underwhelmed, I have to be honest. But it starts off brilliantly, and as I said, overall I did enjoy it. So it's a little bit middle of the road for me, this one, but certainly not bad. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I just felt it had so much more potential, if you know what I mean. This thing of the lone Ice Warrior sort of reminded me a bit of Dalek with the lone Dalek, but I kind of wanted him to do something a bit more of it. I thought, yeah, okay, he's gone up to the spaceship. We're going to see the whole gang now. We're going to see all the, this is what we've been waiting for. All the Ice Warriors are going to appear, and they don't. Mm-hmm. You just see the spaceship go away, and yeah, I don't know. I just felt a little bit underwhelmed by the end of it. I thought, well, that was enjoyable, but I felt it could have been better. But overall it was good. Overall, I quite liked it. As I said, I thought visually it was fantastic. It's so what's this? 7 years old now, 2013. It stands up in terms of production very well. Like the CGI at the start with the ice and the boat, and there's a beautiful shot of Skeldak when he's chained up. It's sort of slow motion with sparks flying. Beautifully directed and produced. It really did look good. Production wise, it stood up very well, I thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't quite reach the heights that I hoped that it would, but it was good. What do you think? Okay. Did it leave you cold?
Did it leave me cold? I would say that it left me kind of lukewarm.
Right, okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
Because, when was the last time I watched this? I can't even remember, dude, the last time I watched this one.
I think I've only watched it once when it went out. I don't think I've ever gone back to it, strangely enough.
I've watched it a couple of times, but I think the last time I watched it was at least a couple of years ago. So it was kind of cool to watch it in that respect. I'd forgotten a bunch of scenes within the story, which was good to watch. Like the scene where Clara goes in to negotiate.
Yeah,
and she realizes that he's not in the suit anymore. That's really tense and stuff. And
good scene.
Yeah, and the scene where, to be honest with you, this sounds bad, but I'd forgotten all of the scenes with David Warner, which is strange because he's such a good character in this. But I remembered he was in it, but I just couldn't remember the scenes where he was interacting with people for some reason. And it, like, even the first scene where he's in it, where he's mopping the floor and he's singing along with his headphones, it's like a really important bit of the story where because you've kind of got this friction between the Captain Zukov, and the Lieutenant Stepashin, because Stepashin's very much, he seems like he really wants the Soviet Union to go to war. He's up for it, he's and all that. He's very patriotic, whereas Zukov, although he appears on the surface to be like that, he's kind of got a bit more depth to his character. He's a bit more, understanding, and doesn't see in such black and white. It isn't just peace and war. He's got that other thing going on. So when them two are kind of going through the motions, although we find out it's a drill at the beginning, David Warner character he's singing it away, and he kind of brings that. We'll come on to his character a bit more later, but he kind of brings that kind of relatable feel to the whole thing, because for the most part, as expected, it's just a bunch of dudes running around a submarine trying to catch a monster. It's fairly simple, but he does bring a certain sense of relatability, because the only thing that we've got outside of all that is Clara, to a degree, because she's very much obviously loving traveling with the Doctor and stuff. She's still, and saving the day, because there's that kind of cool bit at the end where everything's done and everyone's standing on top of the submarine, and she's like, "We saved the world." No, it was before that. Sorry, inside of someone, she's like, "We saved the world." He's like, "Yeah," all casual. She's like, "Yeah, that's what we do." So that, you've got Clara, who's bringing like the real world, present day sort of familiarity to things, but everyone else is just these kind of military dudes. And interestingly, this is the first time, this relates to our previous run of reviews, but this is the first time since The Power of Kroll where Clara is the only female character in the entire story.
Oh, is that right? I didn't
believe it or not. Yeah, since when was Kroll? 70s.
70s.
Yeah. So it's the first time that Clara, like, a female character, has been on her own.
Oh wow!
Believe it or not. Yeah. So she's the one that's bringing a little bit of, she's bringing something for the ladies in terms of relatability, but also from a present day point of view. And but David Warner's characters is he's, for me anyway, he's the one that kind of provides those nice little light moments, a little bit of heart as he's talking through things with Clara. There's that one scene where he sat down and she's just seen like the massacred bodies, and she's like really affected her and stuff, and he's very much like, what's wrong, it's all good, and then he saves her and stuff.
That's a nice scene. I really like that scene between the two of them, actually.
Yeah. And then so there are scenes like that which are really nice, and the caliber of the supporting cast, the actors, they've got some really good, solid actors in there, some couple of great people, and Matt Smith is great as always. But I think, like you, I think there's just something that it feels like it's being held back by something, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is at the moment. But like you said, it's got the potential to be an amazing story. I'm not sure if it's the ending. I'm not sure how.
It just feels a bit anticlimactic, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure how things get wrapped up with how. So because he sends, so Skaldak sends off this distress signal, doesn't he? And then we're under the impression anyway that the other ice warriors are either dead or they can't hear it, so he's literally on his own, which kind of heightens the stakes a little bit, which is really cool, because the Doctor says he's got nothing else to lose now, so the chances of bargaining with him are very slim. Basically, you're likely to all be dead, so that kind of ups the ante a little bit. But then it all kind of, I think it is the ending, So as we get towards sort of the last 10 minutes, it's like, oh, they did listen, they are there. And then they beam him up, and then
Doctor says, "Can I have a lift to the South Pole?"
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, I think it's the ending for me, bud. There are a couple of little bits in between that are a little bit like there's one scene where Stepashin he's off looking around, and then Skaldak grabs him. You don't see his head, you just see his hands around his face and his head. And you thought there was going to be more than that, because he tries to bargain with him. He's like, you and I both want the same thing ultimately. You and I are both warriors, kind of thing, and all that lot. And you think, oh, okay, are they going to have a bit of an alliance here? Is he going to go undercover? And, but you don't see him again. So you just assume that he was killed and he was done. So they could have made a bit more of that. And also, and also the scene where, when Clara goes in to talk to him and
what, to Skaldak?
Yeah, she's got headphones on and stuff. That's all quite tense and all quite good, that bit. But then when they realise that he's out of his suit, he zips past them out the door really quickly.
Yeah.
And nobody goes to chase him. Like, that was really strange to me. It was like, right, the alien, the monster is out of the suit and is running loose now on the submarine. Why don't we put, plan A into action immediately? Because, this is very bad. They all just kind of stand there and have a chat, and then you don't see anything, and they go back to the control room, and then they have another chat, and then the plan gets worked out. And, so there's a few bits in between that didn't quite make sense to me as I was watching it. However, I do agree with you. It did look lovely, like some of the direction. There was like a slow-mo shot of Skaldak as he's in his armor towards the beginning. And like you said, it's in slow-mo. You can see all the particles in the air, the water drop. It looks really nice, like some of the shots and stuff. And
maybe it's the pacing a bit. I mean, that's the thing, because a lot of the action, it kicks off really quick, doesn't it? I mean, straight away, we're into the action. And that doesn't really let up until about sort of 15, 20 minutes in. And then, like you said, then we get that great tense scene with Clara. That's, really good scene with Clara, and it is tense. And then, of course, you discover that he's left the suit. And I think from there onwards, the pacing seems a bit up and down, really. So I think that's what it is. It seems like, I don't know, you normally have a build-up and then lots of action. This starts with all the action and then seems to sort of fizzle out a little bit. And I'm still not quite sure on what the creature looks like. So we get to see the hands and we get to see his face at the end, sort of get the reveal of the Skaldak's true face. But is he because when I first watched this, I was thinking, is he sort of like a bit like a Dalek mutant that he's scuttling around, or has he got a full body in that suit? I'm still not sure quite what is inside the Ice Warrior suit.
Yeah, I think that's what's cool, though, that we don't see the entire body. It's left up to us to imagine.
But definitely. But what do you picture? Do you picture him as a full? So like you said, we see him quickly run out the room.
Yeah, I think he's full body. Yeah,
naked Ice Warrior.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I reckon. Yeah, it looked to me like he had a bit of a tail as well. Like whenever you see like very quick like flash of him go past, you saw like this very like, I don't know, it might have been his legs or his feet, but I don't know. But
there's probably a design of it online somewhere. I'll have to Google it and see. I do. I agree with you. I think it's really cool that they hold off and they don't show you. You get to see bits of him. You sort of build up your own idea. I agree. That is really good, and I like the fact that when we do see his face at the end, it is kept to the end scene, and it does work for me. All of that stuff. But yeah, I'm just slightly intrigued. What? Because I've never thought of an Ice Warrior in those terms. I just think of them as they look in the classic series, and it's interesting that they try something different with them.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
and the other thing was, in terms of the kind of base under siege formula, I suppose this is.
Yeah.
I think, you're right. There wasn't enough of a build up towards the final part of the episode. So having like the action kick off towards the beginning is cool, because then you could have that kind of dip where you have that, I guess from a writer's point of view, you have that educational part of the story where you're finding out why he's doing what he's doing and how you're going to stop it and what's the plan and let's get the plan in action, that kind of stuff. But it doesn't seem to rise back up, does it, to that initial bit of action that we had towards the beginning?
No, because it's all right having a dip in the middle, because that's quite nice to slow the pace down, but then it doesn't really pick back up, really. That's true. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly as well, in terms of writing and directing and stuff, What didn't they use actual miniatures for the submarine and stuff? I remember, I could be wrong, but I think back in the day, they instead of using CG for all of the submarine work, I'm pretty sure they use miniatures for the sub. I might be wrong with that, but it just looks very cool, like the underwater stuff. Looked very cool.
It did, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was CGI or model. It may have been a mix of two, but it did look great. I thought it really did look good. Like I said, especially considering this is a few years old now. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to guess model work. It just looked a bit solid.
Yeah, I think
to be CGI.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Well, I was going to say one thing I was pleasantly surprised with this story though was Clara, because I'm not Clara's biggest fan. As a lot of listeners will know, she, a lot of stories, she irritates me with her smugness and stuff. But I thought she was very good in this. I have to admit, like you said, the scene where she's talking to the Ice Warrior and the lovely scene with David Warner, and her performance I thought was really good in this. She worked well with Matt as well. So that was good, because I think going into any story with Clara, I automatically think, no, it's a Clara story, and I prejudge it by that. And so I was expecting her to annoy me in this. I thought, oh, she's going to come out with some quippy one-liner and whatever. But I thought Jenna was very good in this. I thought she gave a good performance in terms of all that. You did feel the tension when she was in the room with Skeldak and all that sort of stuff. And it's quite nice, like you said, that scene at the end where she's like looking up to the Doctor. She's like, yeah, we save the world. That's what we do. And so, yeah, that was good to see. Maybe the more I watch Clara, maybe she will grow on me a little bit, hopefully. But yeah, I was pleased about that. It was one of the things I was thinking I was like, oh God, a Clara story. I'm not going to enjoy this. But no, she was good in this. Yeah. As was Matt, actually. As was Matt. We do say he's pretty consistent. I think there's very few stories where we don't think Matt quite hits the mark. I think Nightmare in Silver's one where he doesn't quite hit the mark. For me, he's great in this. But did you feel... He is great, but did you feel he was slightly trying too hard in some scenes? Because, in his earlier seasons, Matt just seems so natural. He just seems like almost effortless. For me, I almost felt like he'd got to give that extra 10%. And it might just be because there's a lot of very shouty scenes. I don't know. I felt like, oh, Matt, you're almost trying a bit too hard to be quirky and funny and stuff. I don't know, but he is, don't get me wrong, I still loved him and I still thought he was really good. It just didn't quite have the light touch that he has in sort of series 5, I would say.
Yeah.
Like with the Elvis glasses and all that, it might be more down to the writing. He's written to be very sort of quirky and lots of one-liners and stuff in this.
Yes, I agree. Before I get on to Matt Smith though, I just want to confirm, because I don't want listeners to think I'm going crazy. I've just had a quick look, and the submarine was indeed done as a model miniature.
It was a model, yeah. I thought it might be, yeah.
Yeah. There's a company called the Model Unit. If you go to themodelunit.co.uk, they've done tons of Doctor Who models, ranging from like the Big Ben model that crashes through in
amazing,
the Eccleston story to, and they actually provided a bunch of stuff for the Doctor Who experience when that was open.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the submarine, it was indeed, a miniature stuff.
It looked great.
It
really
did.
Yeah.
Matt Smith, yes. There were a couple of scenes where he was really going for it. And you kind of felt, was that indeed intended to kind of bring the whole thing up a bit from his point of view, maybe? Or was that Douglas McKinnon saying, right, I really, this scene needs to be like that? Maybe it's a combination of the two, but sometimes, lead actors can have that approach though. So if they feel like on set during the day, like the energy isn't quite there, or the impact of the scene isn't quite where they feel it should be, then they will sort of really go for it and try and get all the other actors kind of in the zone as well. So maybe Matt Smith was doing that, because Stephen Moffat has said in a couple of interviews that one of the best things about Matt Smith being as the leading guy, the lead actor, is that there were a few times when the mood was a little bit flat at times, and it wasn't all everything's amazing all the time. It's not like the Lego movie where everything's awesome all the time. And he said that one of Matt Smith's best qualities as a leading guy was that he had that ability to kind of sense when the mood wasn't quite as it should be. And he would just create this kind of energy and just create this this feeling on set when, and all the other actors were like, right, Matt Smith's on it. He's the leading guy. We need to follow his example and bring it up. So maybe it was a combination of that plus Douglas McKinnon, directing it that way. But there was a sense of, it felt like he was out on his own a couple of times, if that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Where you mentioned Clara, she was really good in this. And I think Clara's at her best when she's at her most vulnerable for me. Like when she's playing I think that's why she just grated on a lot of people as she got through her run on the show, was that she just became very, just very cocky.
Yeah,
and,
very cocky.
Yeah. And I don't mean that disrespectfully in terms of how Jenna Louise Coleman was as a, I think she just kind of took that she just took that element of the character and just ran with it a lot. So, from a character perspective, she was very full of herself, like you said, a lot. Whereas in this one, she's almost the opposite for pretty much half the episode. She has these little moments where she has a bit of banter with the Doctor and she's quite funny, but she's actually quite perturbed by what's going on and what's happening.
She says, doesn't she? It's all got real or something.
Yeah. So for that reason, I think Matt Smith has to be that way in some scenes, because if they were both like it, it would be a boring episode, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's early days for Jenna, isn't it? Pretty much in this, and that's the thing. I think what it is, as you were talking through that, I think it might be that it's just a different dynamic. Because I mean, I love Matt Smith, and he's probably one of my favourite Doctors since the show returned. I just think he encompasses absolutely everything that I imagine the Doctor to be, and I love the way he performs the part. So he's still great in it. But I think what it is, I thought he was going over the top, but now that we've talked through it, I think it might just be that it's a different dynamic, because when you've got him with Amy and Rory, they just bounce off each other brilliantly. And I think that's what I meant when I said there's a lightness to his performance in the other seasons. In this, you're right. He's kind of got to go it alone, because he's just got the one companion to work with, and they're still quite new together, the Doctor and Clara at this point. So I think that's what it is. It's nothing. Yeah, maybe when I said he's trying too hard, it's just that he is trying to sort of carry the show a bit more, because he hasn't got Amy and Rory to bounce off.
Yeah.
So it's maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe it's not that he's trying too hard. It's just a different dynamic that I'm picking up on, because, as I said, he's still very good in it, and I still loved his performance. I just felt like, he's almost like really hammering out the humour, whereas before it seemed to just bounce quite naturally from Matt. So whereas this, I don't know, just he's delivering the lines differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But
he does. Yeah, he does deliver a couple of really cool, but like, there's no mistaking like his just the kind of energy and aura that he gives off with this character. Like, even when he's not even talking, right at the beginning when they get captured and they're being searched, he's kind of borderline angry for a minute. He's like, I want a receipt for that, And then like 20 seconds later, he's got these not funny, but he's got these sunglasses on. Yeah, the Elvis shades. And without even saying anything, it's just so funny and that was what was really good about his Doctor. Him and Tennant actually have got this really great way of instantly like flicking a switch and going from very angry to very kind of funny. Very serious and very funny in like a blink of an eye. And he does that quite a few times in this story. Like when he finds out the Ice Warrior's real name. He
looks terrified.
Yeah, so when the Ice Warrior first bowls up, and initially he thinks, it's just another Ice Warrior. I can deal with this kind of thing. And then when he finds out his name, the Grand Marshal and all that stuff, from the moons of whatever. And his face instantly changes and he closes his eyes for a few seconds as if to say like, oh, beep, like we're in for it now kind of thing. So he's great in that respect. He's still doing like the typical Matt Smith doctory stuff, which is great. But I do kind of agree with what you're saying, where he's there's a few scenes where he's very shouty and very strong, and you think, there's no need to over egg the pudding. Yeah, there's no need to go for it too much, mate, because we already get, the severity of what's going on. But then, like you said, maybe because of the dynamic with Clara and some of the other characters, that's needed at that time. So,
talking of Clara again, though, there's a bit where, because I did think she was good in this, but there is one bit where I felt she needed to give more, actually, the opposite. So there's the bit where she has to sing at the end, which is what makes Skeldak change his mind, doesn't he? So you think Skeldak's going to, push the button, blow up, whatever, until he hears Clara sing, and then it's something about family, isn't it? And it just obviously stops Skeldak from going that extra mile and killing them. But I thought Clara, it was almost, I felt like Jenna didn't want to sing. Like, I just imagined behind the camera, it's like, I really don't want to have to do this scene. And they're like, well, no, just mumble a few words, just sing a few bits, or I don't know if it, or if she felt that's the way it needed to be played. I don't know. But I felt like to stop Skeldak killing everyone, it needed to be a bigger moment. Like, she just literally goes, I can't remember what she's singing, but she's like,
it's hungry like the wolf, isn't it? Duran Duran. Yeah.
Like the wolf. She just kind of mumbles it like that, but you kind of feel like she needs to give it a little bit more for him to have such a change of heart, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's literally all she does, isn't it? She's like, it's hungry like a wolf. And then he's like, oh, fine, I'll let you all live. But I don't know, if anything, and it is a minor criticism, I feel like she needed to give just a little bit more in that particular scene. But I don't know. I just felt she was awkward singing, to be honest. Yeah, it's just because it's such a big thing. Like, Skeldak's he's full of rage, and it's the fact that Jenna sings that stops him doing it. I just felt that needed playing up a bit more to have, for him to have such a change of heart. Needed a bit more from Clara at that point than just mumbling a few lines.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Maybe she felt that's how it needed to be played, or maybe she just felt uncomfortable singing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's like that in a few scenes, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She that's how she thought it needed to be played. But yeah, I just felt it needed more for Skeldak to change his mind like that.
Yeah. I mean, how many episodes? I mean, you say this is early days for Clara. How many episodes is this in? 8. This is the 8th episode in Series 7 Part 2, or Series 7B, because it was that split, wasn't it, where they did?
Yeah, but she's she's not been in. So this is only her 3rd proper episode, though, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
She's in The Snowman as a mysterious character, isn't she? Gosh, I haven't watched The Snowman for
Well, she's in Asylum of the Daleks, and then she's in The Snowman, and then she's in
Bella St. John, is it?
Yeah, so she's 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's 5 episodes in as playing Clara. Yeah, I don't know.
Is Bella St. John her first proper story, though?
Yeah, I think
as
so.
Clara, because up till then she's this mysterious souffle girl, isn't she?
That's right. Yeah, I think
and something else. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's her first proper. Yeah, written by them off. Yeah, it's her first proper story. So yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess she's 5 episodes in. She hasn't quite. Do you reckon she's hit her stride by now? It feels like, I don't know. Maybe on my memories. Well, as we all know, our memories aren't great, but from memory, it felt like she had hit her stride already by this point. But maybe she hasn't. Maybe she was still a bit wet behind the ears, so to speak.
Well, Hyde's the next story, isn't it? I've got this gut feeling. Was that the first one they recorded? I'm not 100% sure. Not the first. I mean, they would have done Snowman first or whatever. But I mean, in terms of this block, I don't know. But yeah, she was good in it. I think the thing is with Clara is she's written quite inconsistently throughout her time on the show. So later on, Clara's kind of written to suit the story. So like 1 minute she's a childminder, then she's a school teacher, and it just, her character changes a lot during her time on the show. And so that's the thing. Yeah, it must be quite difficult for her to hit her stride when she's being written differently each season, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I think in terms of performance, she's hit her stride. She seems to sort of have got a grip on the character. If she's someone who's traveling with a doctor and she's, affected by what she sees, but she's loving the fact that they're saving the day and she's got that buzz from it. And in terms of that, she's absolutely found the character. But the character will change a lot from this point onwards. Yeah, and she'll has to deal with that, I suppose.
Yeah, Hyde was the first. Yeah, Hyde was the first episode that Jenna Louise filmed as Clara.
I thought it was. I don't know why that stuck in the back of my head. Yeah, so that's the next episode, but was the first one she filmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Have we reviewed Hyde?
I think we did. Can't remember what we rated it, but I think we have reviewed it.
Pretty sure. Did. Yes, we did. Well, back episode 52.
Wow, that early on. Gosh.
Yeah. Which was back in 2015, dude.
Wow. I don't know what I can't remember what we scored it.
We gave it a 7 each.
Oh, 7. All right, that's not too bad.
Yeah. But I'll get what you're saying, though, about Clara. She was a bit up and down throughout the time that she was on. But then
mostly
again,
that's down to the writing, though.
That was down to the writing, yeah. Because we just mentioned that Hyde was the first one that she filmed. And the guy that wrote Hyde, which was Neil Cross.
Neil Cross, yeah.
I think it was a behind the scenes or something. He basically said that the only thing that he had to go on for the character of Clara was Jenna Louise Coleman's 5-minute audition tape that she filmed for Asylum of the Daleks. So that's all he had to go on to write that character for that whole episode. Yeah. So it's kind of weird that, I mean, just as from a writing perspective, if you're going to write an episode for somebody, the only thing you've got to go on is an audition tape of 5 minutes long for a character that may or may not have been in the whole run anyway. You kind of have to see what she was up against, because you've got writers that later on in the run knew the character inside out at that point and knew what they were writing for. But then in this first bunch of episodes, I wouldn't say they're going in cold or going in blind, but, it's quite difficult to keep the writing consistent when you haven't, when you've only got those limited things to work on. So,
yeah, cause she's very different, obviously in Asylum of the Daleks, isn't she? She's souffle girl, and she is very cocky and lots of one-liners. So it's a bit hard to gauge from that performance where he would write her.
Yeah, but she's not too bad in this. Like I said,
she's good. I liked her in it.
Yeah, I quite like Clara when she is kind of vulnerable and realizes what's at stake, and it's not all cocky and bants all the time. So she's quite cool. And Matt, like you said, is brilliant. So moving on to some of the supporting cast people. So Liam Cunningham, Mr. Cunningham, as the captain, old Zukov, who's obviously a very established actor.
Yeah.
And has gone on to do, loads of cool things. Was he in Doctor Who again or before?
Was he?
Isn't he in the pirate?
Oh, is he?
Is he in the Curse of the Black Spot episode? Is that what? Hold on.
I mean, I recognise him from other things, but I don't recognise him from another episode of Doctor Who.
No, it wasn't. So it wasn't him. A guy that just looks very similar. Yeah, apologies. But yeah, what do you reckon to Zukov then? So, like I mentioned at the beginning, a little bit more heart than his second in command. A little bit more understanding of things. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, I thought he was good casting. He really suits that look of the captain as well. No, I thought he was good. A good performance from him as well. Brought a bit of gravitas to it. It's very shouty at the start. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot going on. But I thought he was good. I liked him.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Who was the captain, the pirate captain in Curse of the Black Spot then?
That's the guy from Downton Abbey, isn't it?
Oh, Hugh Bonneville. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know why I thought that.
Hugh Bonneville.
Bonneville. Yeah.
Yeah. But Hugh Bovril.
Bovril. Yeah. David Warner.
Great. I'm just going to say straight, I love David Warner.
He was one of the best in this for me.
Yeah, I almost wish he was in it a little bit more though, because like you said, he does get some nice moments, and it's a lovely character. But I think he could have been, in it a bit more. I think I would have liked to see more of his character. But he's great in the scenes he's in. I really do like it. I think Dave Warner's just gives such a nice, subtle performance. It sort of feels effortless. He just feels like that character. So, yeah, I really like him in it. Would have quite happily seen him maybe go in the TARDIS for a trip on another adventure. Would have quite happily seen that, because he works very well with Jenna, doesn't he?
Yes.
In those scenes.
Yeah.
There's just nice moments between those two, and he's quite wise to what's going on. He's good. It's really nice.
Yeah, and it was a really cool scene, actually, when he starts quizzing her, doesn't he? He's like, so are you really from another time? And all that lot. And she's like, yeah. And then he starts really pressing her, like, tell me, the future. She's like, I can't tell you. He's like, tell me. And you think he's going to kick off and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the climax is like, do Ultravox split up?
Yeah.
Everything that's going on, he's just all about his music, isn't he? And all that. It's just great.
With his little cassette
player. His Walkman, yeah.
Walkman, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to, like those scenes, like they were very well written, very well done. But David Warner carries that very well, though. He's got this kind of old wise man. He's kind of, you almost get the sense like he's been there and done that. He's coming up to the end of his time, I suppose, retirement, and he just wants to chill out and listen to his tunes while he's cleaning up, and he doesn't want any drama. So he's got like a wise head on him, isn't he? He's very kind of grounded, and that rubs off on Clara. She feels safer, I suppose, around him, and he plays that very well. That sense of he's got the biggest heart, basically, out of all of the Russian crew.
Yeah, there is a bit where I for some reason I thought he died. As I said, I think I've only watched this once, so I remembered the scene when the Skeldak sort of claws come down to get him, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember he gets knocked off, but he doesn't actually, does he? He survives, which is good. I would have hated him to be killed off, to be honest. So I'm glad he survives to the end.
Yeah, and what did you think to? I just mentioned there about him having the biggest heart out of all of them, which prompted me to think they're all Russian. What did you think to the fact that when the Doctor and Clara first land on the sub, they can obviously speak and understand Russian because of the TARDIS translation matrix, whatever it's called. But how does that still work then, even though the TARDIS is now at the other end of the planet? Is it like a global thing that it does? Or I thought you had to be in a fairly close proximity to it.
Yeah, I must admit, it is a bit of a hole in the story, isn't it? I mean, because at first I thought, well, what was the point of getting rid of the TARDIS? Like, what is that about? Because it does seem really random, and I don't think it gets picked up on in Hyde. From what I remember, they're just back on the TARDIS, aren't they? Don't think there's any reason to it. But then I guess I was thinking about this last night. I thought, what was the point of that? But I suppose it's because if you have the TARDIS there, you could just get in it and escape. So you've kind of got to get rid of the TARDIS for them to be stuck on the sub, I suppose. That's the only reason I can think for like having that part of the story of getting rid of the TARDIS. But then you're right. I mean, that is a blimmin' long way to keep translating.
Yeah. It's kind of cool how the TARDIS does that, though. So the Doctor says that he turned back on the HADS system, the hostile action displacement thing, which is kind of cool. So if the TARDIS feels like it's in danger or whatever, it will just scarper, which is kind of cool. And he says he hasn't used it in donkey's years. I think that was a throwback to the Crotons, right? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was quite nice. That was kind of cool. Yeah, but it
does work well. But like you said, you don't think about it too much.
Yes. Yeah. I just wanted to get your thoughts, because after I finished watching, I thought, why have they continued to be able to speak and understand when the TARDIS is gone? Because at that point, we didn't know that the TARDIS was had gone to the South Pole. We didn't know that. We had no idea where the TARDIS went. We don't find out until the end of the episode where the TARDIS went. So it's kind of weird that it could have gone to another like the other end of the universe for all we know. So, yeah. I mean, it's nothing to get too hung up on, I suppose. You just have to sort of go with it. But
I mean, it did bug me a little bit, because I was sort of thinking, okay, if the Doctor's built that in, he would have had a sort of thing to get the TARDIS back quickly. He would not, he would have built something into it to bring it so he could get it back quickly. The fact that he's got to go all the way to South Pole to get the TARDIS back is a little bit ludicrous if you think about it. He'd have had a reverse switch on the Sonic. I mean, the Sonic does everything, right? I know in the modern series it's used for absolutely everything, but I have to admit it is used a lot in the Matt Smith era as well. So he would have just whizzed the Sonic up and the TARDIS would have reappeared. I'm very surprised they didn't do that, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit surprised. Yeah,
but then it's an easy get out. I mean, you just can't have the TARDIS coming back so easily because they'd have just got in it and saved the day, wouldn't they? So
true.
It's got to be got rid of. Yeah.
Yes. And then what did you think? So the third supporting cast member that had a fairly decent role was Lieutenant Stepashin, who's played by Tobias Menzies.
Is he the one that gets killed? I've lost track a little bit.
He's the one that stands. He's lieutenant, so he stands up to the captain. They have a bit of friction between them, and he's the one that tries to bargain with Skuldak when he's being gripped up by him. But he's quite cool. He's quite a good actor, Tobias. He's he went on to do a bunch of cool stuff. He was in a big popular series in the US called Rome. He was in The Crown. Took over as Prince Philip.
Everyone's been in The Crown.
Prince Philip, he was pretty good in that. He's been in loads of things, but
was that him? Took over as Prince Philip.
Yeah. So he's done a bunch of stuff. He's a very good actor. He's I would like to have seen him not being killed off so early on in the story, though. To be honest, it would have been cool to see him, like I said at the beginning, maybe strike up a bit of a deal with Skuldak, even if Skuldak wasn't going to honour it, just to see him go back and mix with the other crew members, knowing that he's working with, or he thinks he's working with Skuldak, and those two were going to start the nuclear war between them and stuff. So it was kind of cool. He had that he played that sort of very blinkered view of the world, that black and white, like, the Americans must die kind of thing. This is the, we're going to start the nuclear fallout, the war and stuff. So he was cool from that respect.
Yeah, no, he is good. And I am right. David Warner does survive in this, doesn't he? I'm questioning him. Yeah, he does. He's at the end. Because the thing is, I do feel like there isn't much story here when you break it down. It's just the Ice Warrior escaping and, getting a bit angry. So, but part of me wishes this was the two-parter because I feel like there was potential to, I feel like if you'd had a second part, you could have brought in all the other Ice Warriors. It could have really kicked off and stuff. And I think there are nice characters here that could have, been utilised more as well, like David Warner's character stuff. But there isn't enough story in this for it to be a two-parter. But part of me feels if they could have thought of a way to bring in other elements, it would have been nice to have had an Ice Warrior two-parter. Because we don't see them again until whatever the other story is with the Ice Warriors. It's a 12th Doctor story, isn't it? Can't think what it's called. They come back in that. With the Ice Warrior Queen and all that stuff. But that's the next time we see them, isn't it?
Face the Raven.
No, not Face the Raven. That's the one where Clara gets killed.
Yeah, that's the next time we see an Ice Warrior.
Is it?
Yeah, so Series 9, that's when Clara dies, Face the Raven. And then in Series 10, we see like the Empress of Mars, she's called.
Yeah, that's it, Empress of Mars, yeah.
Not till Series 10, though. Yeah.
Oh gosh, where do we see an Ice Warrior in Face the Raven? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Is it a flashback or something? I don't know. I just don't remember an Ice Warrior walking down Trap Street, but you could be wrong.
Trap Street, yeah.
Yeah, Trap Street. But yeah, it's the one in Series 10 that I'm thinking of, where we see a bit more. We see a couple of Ice Warriors in that. That's another episode that I haven't watched for ages. Empress of Mars.
Yeah, Series 10. That's it's Capaldi, isn't it? Yeah,
Capaldi. Yeah,
but yeah, that's the Ice Warriors. They haven't really been in Doctor Who that often. Do
you like the redesign? You agree with me about the redesign, though, right? It's done very good, isn't it?
Yes,
they haven't tweaked it or modernised it too much because that was one of the things I think I was worried about when I heard the Ice Warriors were returning. I thought, oh no, what are they going to do to them? Like, because I'm not a fan of the Cybermen redesign at all. I think the Daleks have been updated pretty well to begin with. I'm not sure about the Rusty Dalek or the Paradigm ones, but yeah. But I think they tweaked it very nicely. I think it looks fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. So in 2010s, in the 2010s era, an ice warrior was a resident of the hidden trap street in London, which housed lost aliens on Earth under the protection of Mayor Me.
Oh, God. Me. What is that name? That still irritates me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, mate. So, yeah, an ice warrior is in Face the Raven, but not predominantly. It's like a... Yeah. You know.
I don't remember that, yeah.
And then the other cast members, they're just kind of crew members. Don't really have that bigger scenes. They get picked off or they survived. It's nothing crazy, really. Murray Gold's music, pretty good in this one, actually. It's nice to go back to a bit of Murray Gold. No complaints at all about Dudley Simpson's music from the classic stuff, but we just weren't really feeling it too much without the key to time. So it's nice to come back to a bit of modern Murray Goldness. So I quite like these episodes with Murray Gold because it's not in your face, big bombastic stuff all the time, which some of his scores are for some modern Who. But in this one, it was fairly consistent, fairly good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it was nice to hear Murray after having a bit of a break from sort of this era of Who. Yeah, his music is lush. It really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Very nice to hear a bit of Murray.
Indeedy. Yeah. Okay. I haven't got anything else on my notes, bud, to add.
Don't think I have either.
No, you're good. I think it's me to go first with scores. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, we're on the same page. I'm a 7 as well. Enjoyable, but yeah, didn't quite hit its height, but 7.
A 7. Well.
Yes. 7.
Okay, yeah, same reasons, buddy. Potential there to be a brilliant story, but something not quite hitting the mark, and the ending was a bit quick. And yeah,
it did wrap up very quick, didn't it?
Yes. Okie dokie. 7 from me, 7 from him. What did our listeners think? We had some audio clips in, as always. Thank you very much, guys. Let's kick off with Sammy Satine.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. So, Cold War. First things first, for the 500th millionth time, it is Mark Gatiss. I will keep reminding you of this until you pronounce it properly. It's on my list of things I get annoyed at you two and others about. Speaking of Mark, this is one of my favourites of his stories. This, Robert of Sherwood and the Unquite Dead. Robert of Sherwood is a bit like my dad's uncle. Every time I think about it, I laugh because I find it hilarious. Anyway, Grand Marshal Skaldag is an ice warrior not to be messed with. It's a great idea, based on a siege story with an alien, mostly unseen, picking off a few crew members one by one. I love this. It entertains me. I give it 8 Grand Marshal Skaldags out of 10. Take care, stay safe, wash those hands, etc. See ya.
Oh dear, Sammy, sorry. Yeah, it's a great story.
You say Gatiss, you say Gatiss. Let's call the whole show.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's a good story by Mark Gatiss. It is a good one. But, yeah, thank you very much, Sammy, for the review, as always. I can't tell if you like this or not, Sammy, from your review.
She liked it.
You did quite like it, yeah.
She loved it.
Okie dokie. Moving on. This is Mr. Seb Lane.
Hello, Gary and Adam. This is Matt Smith. I can't do this. I can't. Oh my god. Right, I'm just gonna. I'm so sorry. Right, Cold War. I haven't watched this episode for years until like last night, so here we are. But I think it was a pretty decent episode. A little bit harmless. You would have thought that it would be a little bit bigger, considering it was the return of the Ice Warriors, but obviously not. But yeah, just a decent Base Under Siege episode, and that's literally it. I think Liam Cunningham, I think it is, as Captain Zukov, is actually a pretty good character. The side cast are pretty good in this, actually, and Skaldak is just quite a cool concept, really, just with singular Ice Warrior. But yeah, I will not be attempting any more Doctor voices, unless I really think I can, but I doubt I can. So stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Oh, Seb, don't worry, dude. Get the old impressions rolling. Well, you almost expect it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so not a bad score as well from Seb. Thank you very much, dude. Moving on, this is Mr. Joe Turner.
Cold War is a typical base under siege story. The fact that it's set during 1983, where tensions between the USSR and USA were very high, really benefits the viewers because we get a large sense of the scale, wherein which at any point the chances of mutually assured destruction is very, very likely. At some points I found it a little too slow and not enough action, plus even though Matt Smith is my favourite Doctor, at points in this story he is too silly. The Ice Warrior, Skaldak, was great. I loved his really deep, intimidating voice with his armour presenting a really fearless warrior. But I was so annoyed when we saw his rubbish CGI face, as I wanted it to remain unknown. Because as a viewer, we get to create the fear factor ourselves and we benefit a lot more. Finally, Clara was great, far cry from her Series 9 self, betraying a mature performance, but I found the ending a little too rushed and a bit too weak. As a result, I give this story a 6 out of 10. Not a bad one to watch, just not excellent. Thank you.
A 6?
Thank you. Yes. I agree with a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also about the seeing what the Ice Warriors look like underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Joe. Yeah. Anyway, a 6. Yeah, not a bad score. Last review. This is from Martin Arnold.
Vanquisher of the Phobos heresy, sovereign of the Tharcesian caste. But enough about me. What did I think of Cold War? I actually rather like this episode. That's mainly because it's got Ice Warriors, and I really like Ice Warriors. Had they put in, for example, I don't know, a Pating, it would have been horrible. Because it's not got the, a strong, hugely complex and engaging story. It's just basically, please don't blow up the Earth for 45 minutes and then the Earth remains. It reminds me of Warriors of the Deep, which is also another sort of undersea, base under siege story during a Cold War featuring classic Doctor Who aliens. Sadly, this one doesn't have a Merca though. But on the whole, I think it's actually a pretty fun episode. It's not the best that Matt has to work with. Clara's not too bad, and the sidecasts are pretty good. If only they weren't so stupid as to free a man from the ice from another planet. Oh well, 7 out of 10. Cheers.
7.
And yeah, it's a good point about Warriors of the Deep. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. That's a great shot, actually. The bit where he does set him free and you see the hand smash through the ice. That is awesome. Again, great direction there.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, that bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you very much, Martin. Cool review as always, and thank you to our listeners that took the time to do the audio clips. Love you guys for sending that stuff in as always. Let's rattle through some of the social stuff over on Twitter. Rick Moran says, very dull and insipid story that goes nowhere very fast. Love that word, insipid.
Insipid, yeah.
Great actors like David Warner are completely wasted. Basically, we have Hunt for Red October meets Doctor Who, which sounds much cooler than it actually is. The execution is played off as an Alien rip-off in a submarine, but with none of what truly made that movie amazing. The political thriller aspect with the option for nuclear war falls rather flat. 2, Miss Smith is being given tripe to work with.
That's another word I like, tripe.
Yeah, Jenna is doing a decent job in the companion role, but again, she can't make a silk purse out of a pig's ear. With the script, she is given a 1 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Blimey, Rick.
Rick not loving this one.
Savage
from Rick. Yeah, thank you very much, Rick. Those guys over at the Lost on Gallifrey podcast says, solid ep of Who. Love the Ice Warriors, enjoy how Who does something different with them in every story. However, it's a shame we don't see Skaldak kill anyone as a proper armoured Ice Warrior. The story is good, but just never feels like enough. Matt, fantastic as ever. A 7 out of 10.
7. Yeah,
Edward Giluli, a great sounding idea. Ice Warriors on a submarine, one of the best casts ever assembled on the show, yet somehow it doesn't quite work. So a 6.5. Vincent Blonde 1 says, glad you are back to New Who.
Oh.
So are we, Vincent. Yes, well, one of the best ones written by Mark Gatiss. Having said that, it is still mediocre. But Matt's Doctor is very good as always. The Ice Warrior out of his armour was a brilliant idea. Very creepy, reminds me of Alien. 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely an Alien vibe there.
Yes, yeah. Nath, Silent Nerd C137 says, I find this a very underrated story. What a unique way to reintroduce the Ice Warriors with a story that wouldn't feel out of place in classic Who. Really like the Ice Warriors. Skaldak's armour looks amazing. David Warner is great, and I love his connection with Clara. And 8.5. Our writer dude, Jordan Shortman, says, not one of my favourites, which is a shame because I love the Ice Warriors. David Warner is wasted here, and I'm not sure the Ice Warrior out of armor worked. The thing looked far too small to fit in something of that bulk. At least Matt Smith is good here, and Clara is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Brian Chapman. This could have been a belter of a two-parter. Perhaps as such a terrific ending story for Series 7B, but this single episode feels rushed, kept together mostly by Matt Smith. When have we seen that before? And David Warner. 6.5 Ultravoxes out of 10. Sarah Louise, a running Whovian.
Hi, Sarah.
Always running, says, after the slog of recent weeks, this story was over in a flash. In fact, it felt a little rushed. Lots of action, good concept and cast, as well as my favourite new Who Doctor, but sadly not memorable enough for me to revisit with any regularity. 6 out of 10.
Fair enough, Sarah. Thank you.
Yes. The Universe of Who says, I cannot claim is one of my highlights of that season, but it's enjoyable enough, with a satisfying return for the Ice Warriors themselves, despite a weak story. Like a lot of Series 7, rather average, so 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Got the last few on here now. Our buddy Reese, Gallifrey Forever 97, says, I feel this is an underrated story from Series 7. The Ice Warrior design looks incredible, with an interesting idea to have it come out of the suit with fairly effective results. Matt and Jenna look like they're having a lot of fun with the comedy and the scary moments. Enjoyable episode, in my opinion.
Thanks, Reese.
Cheers, Reese. TARDISNet 66. I don't like Series 7, but this is pretty decent. Traditional base under siege format, the Ice Warrior is a very formidable threat, and I like seeing it out of its armour, but I wish they'd kept its appearance a mystery. I think the ending is a little rushed. And lastly, Dan Pinn says, I really enjoyed this one. The Ice Warriors are my favourite monster, and the new design is superb, although I think the Ice Warrior leaving its armour doesn't work. It looks a bit weedy. The sets of the sub are brilliant and add to the atmosphere and tension. How strong is the supporting cast? From Game of Thrones to Grantchester, David Warner is brilliant as the 80s pop-loving professor. Matt is nothing less than superb. Have we ever had a more consistent Doctor? Dan gives it a 7.5.
Well, I love Matt, so I agree.
Completely agree. Yep.
Great Doctor.
And we had a few over on Facebook as well. Lawrence Baxter says, solid episode, atmospheric and good introduction of a classic monster. Seeing 2 future Prince Philips from The Crown in one episode is fun. Plus, it's good to see Liam Cunningham in Doctor Who when apparently he was briefly the front runner to be the 8th Doctor before McGann was cast.
Oh, right.
Aha. Okay. 7 massive ice cubes out of 10.
Ice cubes.
Charlie Turner says, Gattis's best script, I think. A nice way to reintroduce the Ice Warriors into the show after the monster of Peladon. David Warner, Ice Warrior, what more can one ask for? It's one of the hidden gems of Series 7, an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, man, did we not see the Ice Warriors since...
The monster of Peladon. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said. They don't actually appear that often throughout Who. Yeah.
Always think they're in it more, yeah.
Not like the bloody Daleks. Sorry. He was walking past the door.
Saw Tats and didn't like that.
There we go. Andrew Cuthbert, really fun romp with the added bonus of David Warner in the comic role. Probably the best opener for any Doctor Who story. Very Matt Smith. Only downside is the story is extremely rushed. It's the extremely rushed ending, 7 Barbie dolls out of 10.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Barbie dolls.
That's weird, actually.
It's a bit weird.
Toby Coleman says, the feeling has gone. Only you and I, it means nothing to me.
It's nothing to me.
Nothing to me. Got a bit distracted by the awful karaoke songs I love. So, Cold War. I love this. The cinematography was fantastic, and the Ice Warriors design was amazing. I loved the tense standoff as the whole story was about stepping back from the brink. Setting was cool. Ending seemed okay. Loved the reference to the Hads. I thought the Doctor and Clara were really good, as was the Professor. Overall, a tense, creepy thriller. 8 soggy submariners out of 10. Last couple, Aaron Ball. A good Ice Warrior story. It takes a turn and has a political message, of course, but Smith and Jenna are great together. Really enjoy them. Just feels rushed in parts. A story I go to in Series 7, if any. But to be honest, I'd give it a 7.5.
Okay.
And Millie Mackenzie says, this is a great, creepy, claustrophobic episode. It takes clear inspiration from the likes of Alien and The Thing from Outer Space. At the time, I was still new to Who, so I didn't know who the Ice Warriors were from a classic monster, I was impressed by the costume, and now having gone back through all of Who, I think it's the best of the modernised monsters in terms of costume design. Very true to the original, sold. 8 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, I agree about the costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I tweeted out also, Millie did a series of these really cool little miniature monsters.
I saw them.
Did you
Yeah,
see
they
them?
look amazing. Yeah.
They look awesome, Millie. Yeah. You should sell those, Millie. You should get some commission for those. They look very, very cool. Anyways, thank you very much, guys. So I think the average score across everything is probably a 7 from the sound of
Yeah,
it.
I reckon. Yeah.
Yes, we had a couple of haters. Crikey, Rick, not liking
Rick.
it. So, no. And a couple of people loving it. So, yeah, not a bad one. So that was Cold War. Next week, Bud, what we got?
Next week, so we're back to Sarah Jane Adventures with the Nightmare Man.
Oh.
Yeah, the Nightmare Man. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Indeedy. Yes, it's going to be lovely getting back to some SJA.
Yeah, I miss those guys. Genuinely have, actually. I feel like friends that I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Yes. Right, Bud, I think we'll wrap there for 279.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for coming back or joining us fresh to listen to a week of us waffle on about various bits to do with Doctor Who. If you are joining us fresh, thank you very much for jumping on the podcast. It's great to have you here. Old-time listeners, the Grizzled Ancients, it's great to have you guys back as well for 279. Next week, as Adam said, it's going to be back to the Sarah Jane Adventures for the Nightmare Man. So get your DVDs watched for that, because we'll be asking for your reviews as always. And it is going to be good to go back to Sarah Jane. I can't stress that
can't wait.
enough.
Yeah,
we absolutely, for those of you that don't know, we've loved watching all the Sarah Jane Adventures. I think this is season 3 we're on now, right? Is it 3?
Yeah. It's been so long I've forgotten. Yeah.
So it's going to be good to go back and watch that. And apparently, I've not seen any of the Sarah Janes from this point on, but apparently this one's a bit of a cracker. So yeah, it's going to be good. In the meantime, head over to the website, thebigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our shows on there. Plus, you can link off to the various podcast apps and networks. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. So just click one of those links or do a search in whatever podcast app you listen to your podcasts on. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. That way you won't miss a show when it lands every Friday. And if you've got a minute to leave us a review and a rating, that would be lovely, because that helps us out lots and lots, and we really appreciate those that have left reviews recently. We're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. There are links on the website, or just do a search for us in those apps. Come and give us a like and a follow. We chat Doctor Who throughout the week. We have a free Discord server as well. There's a link to that on the website. Come and hang out and chat Doctor Who with other Who fans. It's all good over there. Lots of Who chat regularly every day, which is great. Also, check out my co-host's channel over on YouTube, The Geek's Handbag.
Yes, I'm actually working on some new vids. Now I've got my editing software sorted. Yeah, go and have a look.
Some new material. Nice.
Yeah, a bit of new material. Yeah, trying out some new material.
Yeah, go and check out Adam's channel on YouTube, The Geek's Handbag, and Adam is on the socials too under the same name, The Geek's Handbag. Give him a like and a follow as well. Like I said, we chat and waffle plenty of Doctor Who throughout the week in between shows. So come and get involved there. Until next week for 280. My name's Gary.
280, yeah. My name's Adam.
And remember...